said that when a public company changes its model, those changes must be disclosed. So why exactly were the risk models changed?
So we have hundreds, maybe thousands of models. They are periodically changed, updated. The intent is usually to make them better. They're constantly trying to be improved. Back in June of the prior year, CIO and an independent model risk group were trying to update and improve a model. It was approved. It was implemented in January. As of April 13th, we had no reason to think it wasn't a better model and didn't better reflect some of the risks that were being taken there. Clearly, when things started to go south several weeks later, we felt that the new model was not better and went back to the old model, which we thought was better. We disclosed that in our 10Q, so we told our shareholders we should when we filed the 10Q on May 10th.
Okay,
Morgan Chief Jamie Dimon back in front of Congress today trying to explain the bank's $2 billion in losses. He's in front of the House this time. Is it going to be a tougher crowd? I'm Wendy Bounds. Welcome to Lunch Break. We've got our banking editor, Colin Barr, right here beside me.
Hi.
He was in front of the Senate. Now he's in front of the House. Sounds a little bit like a repeat, his opener this morning, but is this going to be a tougher crowd?
I think a tougher crowd because more unpredictable. The senators are not all up for re-election, among other things, and then you have the House crowd. It can be a little wild in the House at times.
So he's officially in front of the House Committee on Financial Services.
Right.
He hasn't been speaking that long. From what you've heard, Colin, what's sort of his tone? Same thing?
It's the same thing, and I think that they actually published the exact same testimony. They did change they changed the salutation, which I thought was nice. It's
right.
nice to
shake it up a little
right,
bit.
Right,
yeah.
No, that's good to do that. But so they're saying, look, this is what we know about this story. We're going to tell you what we know, and this is what it is. So no change there. The difference here is this crowd is a little bit more. It's a little bit more unpredictable, and it's also they're a little bit more focused on blaming the regulators. They had a session earlier before Mr. Dimon came on, in which they basically jumped up and down on the heads of various regulators who appeared before them. Why didn't you catch this? That sort of thing.
The stock up around 1.9%, 2% this morning. Are they comforted just by the repetition? You think? Do you think the markets are comforted by that?
Repetition is always comforting. Yeah. No, well, I mean, part of it is just the stock fell a lot after the losses were disclosed. At one point, it was down 30 billion in market value, and now it's kind of clawed back about a third of that. So, I mean, J.P. Morgan is still pretty far down from where they were, but I think that, in general, the fact that Greece didn't cause the world to blow up and things like that, those things are seen broadly as positives. I think that's more the issue.
Now, some breaking news from the Journal out of your group this morning about some of the folks at J.P. Morgan and when they didn't share details of some of their trades.
Right, and so there are a couple of the top people in this trade were Bruno Ixel, who's known as the London Whale. He's the one who took very large positions. One of his supervisors, the head of international at the group that put on the trades, Achilles Macris, and Achilles was known as a very bright guy, but who could have some rough edges at times. And Bruno is a guy who, at times, I think, felt that he had some supervisors, not necessarily Achilles, but he had some supervisors who didn't totally understand what he was doing. They didn't necessarily want to get into long discussions of convexity, for instance,
right.
Whatever that is. And so he would do things like he would start spouting mathematical models to them to get them to leave. So that's one thing you can do at a cocktail party. For instance,
right.
if you end up in a corner with somebody you don't like, you can start talking about sigmas. Again, whatever those are.
All right, and how long are Jamie Dimon supposed to go for? How long this morning?
He's going to be on for a bit more. I think that we're not expecting to hear anything shocking because the kinds of questions that we're going to get new information out of on this are very kind of granular questions, and
yes.
A lot of these congressmen aren't showing a lot of interest in that.